to all our distinguished guests, dear colleagues, beloved friends, and most especially our honored speakers, welcome once again to Hekima University College. It's a joy to see all of you here, and I would like those from Hekima to welcome you with a round of applause. With all the protocol observed, I will just go to my few words of remark. And allow me to begin with a story of the gospel that captures not just the essence of this gathering, but the heartbeat of our faith. On that first day of Easter in the morning, when the world was still wrapped in darkness and despair, it was Mary Magdalene who went to the tomb. She did not go with the strength of armies or with the assurance of success. She went with love, with tears, and with fidelity to the one she loved. In her search, in her doubts, she encountered what others had not yet dared to see: the risen Christ. And it was she, not Peter, not John, not the 11, who became the first herald of the resurrection. In the proclaiming, I have seen the Lord, in John chapter 20, verses 18, Mary Magdalene became more than a faithful disciple. She joins Mary, the mother of Jesus. She became the first theologian of the resurrection, a woman who interpreted the mystery of God's victory over death and announced it. And she did to the church, to the early church. She was the first preacher of the good news, the apostle of the apostles to the apostles. This moment, my dear friends, is not accident in salvation history. It is a divine reminder that the gospel cannot be fully proclaimed without the voices, the insights, the witness, and the leadership of women. Mary's courage to see beyond the empty tomb, to judge what others could not yet comprehend, and to proclaim what could change history forever. If you like, to proclaim the earthquake of our hope. This courage is precisely what we celebrate and call forth in this conference. The spirit of Mary Magdalene lives on in African women theologians today. Just as she stood at the threshold of despair and transformed it into hope, so too are the African women theologians standing at the crossroads of culture, of faith, of debate, of governance and ministry, reimagining leadership, discerning new pathways, reminding the church that the resurrection always begins from the margins. Her story is our story. Her proclamation is our charge. Her vision is our inheritance. And just as she ignited the faith of the apostles with her witness, so too do we believe that we have that call as we gather here. That have the voices of many others could ignite the church in Africa with fresh fire, with bold vision, and with renewed commitment to synodality, communion, and mission. As we welcome you to Hekima University College, this conference does not stand in isolation. Not only it follows up to the first one we had several months ago, but it comes on the heels of the historic second meeting in Kigali, Rwanda, where African theologians, bishops, and pastoral leaders reflected on the future of the church under the vision of 2050. That vision invited us to see the church in Africa not merely as one growing in numbers, but as one maturing, deep in reflection, dynamic in leadership, prophetic in witness, and unafraid to go to new frontiers. In Kigali, 4 key milestones were highlighted, and now they are in our hands. The first a church of deep reflection and rooted theology. The Kigali meeting underscored the urgent need for theological scholarship that is authentically African, genuinely Catholic. It called for deeper reflection on how faith interacts with African cultures, political realities, and socio-economic struggles of our people on this continent. Vision 2050 insists that the church in Africa must not rely on borrowed paradigms, but must generate theology from within our own soil, with women theologians at the forefront of this process. So if you like, just soon after SECAM in Kigali, probably this is another big conference after that. A church, the second aspect of the SECAM invitation is a church of dynamic and shared leadership. Vision 2050 challenges the church in Africa to move beyond clericalism towards a truly synodal model of leadership. In Kigali, leaders emphasize that effective leadership for the future must be collaborative, inclusive, and open to the gifts of all the baptized. Women, youth, and lay professionals are not to be at the sideline of the church, but recognized as co-leaders in a mission. And the third invitation from the Kigali conference, the second meeting, a church prophetic in witness. This meeting affirmed that the African church must speak prophetically in the world. This includes addressing injustices such as poverty, violence, corruption, and ecological degradation. Vision 2050 sees the church as a moral compass in Africa, defending the human dignity which is often defaced in the lives of so many. And finally, we have a church open to the new frontiers. Kigali second meeting reminded that Vision 2050 requires the church to embrace new horizons, the digital age, the interfaith dialogue, youth engagement, global interconnectedness, and going deep to discuss the whole topic of polygamy. To be unafraid of these frontiers means to be creative, adaptive, and bold. This is precisely the work we are beginning here by creating platforms where African women theologians engage not only with tradition, but also with emerging challenges and opportunities for the mission. Our gathering here, my dear friends, therefore, is one of the first fruits of the Vision 2050. We are happy that Hekima is at the forefront. And why Hekima? Hekima University College has, for 42 years now, sought to be a wellspring of theological imagination, leadership, and prophetic scholarship in Africa. And to be sure, we are not inventing the wheel. With humility, we build on what others have done before. Our motto this year, Dreaming Deep and Flying High, captures both our identity and our aspiration. This conference is not an isolated event, but rather an embodiment of our strategic plan 2024-2030, which seeks to ground scholarship in faith, promote research, strengthen partnerships. I can imagine how many partnerships will be drawn as we come again here together. Here at Hekima also a hub for research and innovation. HUC, Hekima University College, has committed itself in strengthening research and publication as key strategic trust. Through our Center for Research, Training and Publications, through our Hekima Review, peer-reviewed journal, our institute like Jesuit Historical Institute in Africa, our Center for Interfaith in Africa, our Safeguarding Center, we generate contextual theologies and innovative responses to the questions that people are asking. We are not answering to the questions of a bygone era. In doing so, we are building a church rooted not in borrowed voices, but in authentic African tradition. And so, my dear friends, it's a joy to have you here. Really. Friends, dreams like this are never realized alone. They are born in the heart of one person, and probably many who come together. But they only come to life when many hands, many hearts, many prayers join together. And I'm grateful to Sister Dr. Mary Nzirani for the lengthy prayer that ushers us into this conference. And so today, our first word of welcome is also joined with a word of gratitude. We are profoundly grateful to the wonderful collaboration with Watawa, represented here by Sister Mumbi. May she stand so that they welcome you. Time and again, they have, together with our HUC team that I will show shortly, they have worked with us not only as partners but as true companions on the journey. Their commitment, their vision, their solidarity reminds us of something very important. Synodality is not simply a word written in church documents. It is a way of life, and I think the journey we have made with Wata is that example. It is the art of working together, of sharing burdens, of dreams with one another until a common vision is born. So without Wata, and the donors who often like not to be mentioned, this dream could not have become a reality. We also take a moment to recognize the editors of and contributors to our conference proceedings, which, as you may know, during this conference we will relaunch the book that is born from the first conference. So I would like to recognize with deep gratitude the editors of our first volume. May I ask them to stand so that we thank them? Father Ayowa, Sister Jacinta, may you please stand? And we have Sister Nzirani and Sister Gladys. It is this proceeding certainly a prophetic witness that the voices of African women theologians are not whispers on the margins. Now there is a book. Let us be clear. When the proceedings of a conference become a book, it means the conversation has not ended. It means the conversation has only just begun. So there is more work ahead. And in closing, a challenge to all of us. I must pose a challenge, because a conference, no matter how beautiful, how eminent it is, it's not an end in itself. It is only a spark. The true test is whether the fire it lights continues to burn long after we leave this hall. And so I ask you, my dear friends who have traveled from far and wide, what should we expect at the end of this conference? Where do we go from here? Maybe from conference to curriculum, that this, whatever we discuss, finds itself in the curriculum. From reflection to pastoral action. From gathering to a movement. So as we engage in these discussions over these days, I invite you to keep these questions burning in your hearts. The teachers among you, do we use the very resources of this conference? How will what we do here today shape the church of tomorrow? And so we have a reason to celebrate, and we are really deeply grateful that you have joined us from many countries and you have come here. As a way of welcoming you, let me ask all those who have traveled to come to Hekima University College to please stand, and we give you a round of applause. I end as I began, with a story of hope. In a small parish in rural Africa, a woman catechist once shared how she had walked miles each week to gather children under a tree and teach them the faith. She had no classroom, no books, no stipend, no recognition. When someone asked her why she continued in spite of the hardships, her answer was disarming in its simplicity. And I quote, "Because the gospel is alive in me. No one will shut it down." That, my friends, is the spirit that brings us together. The gospel is alive. It is the spirit of Mary Magdalene on Easter morning. It is the spirit of Mary, the mother of Jesus, the spirit of those who labored to organize this gathering. It is the spirit of every African woman theologian who speaks, writes, and teaches and ministers against all odds in a continent that still has a lot of clericalism. The gospel is alive in us, and we will certainly live in a continent that sings, but also in societies that are sinking. So we need to make that gospel even more alive. So let this story carry us in this conference and in the days ahead. Let it remind us that what we begin here does not end here, but is a continuation of so many. And with immense joy, and if the chair of the council allows me, with deep gratitude and with the dreams that guide us, we now declare the second African Women Theologians Conference 2025 officially opened. Welcome to Hekima University College, your home for scholarship, faith, and with humility, a place of prophetic imagination. Asanteni sana.